meeting and all meetings of this council are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin Statutes, so the citizenry may be aware of the time, the place, and the agenda of this meeting. We'll have a roll call.
Allenstein? Here. Johanna Edwards?
Here.
Nick Henderson?
Here.
Scott Rasmussen?
Here.
Jim Zandrow?
Here.
Bruce Brunner? Yes.
Thank you. I ask that everyone join us in the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mrs. Edwards.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry about that. I'll do it too. Go quick. Okay. Next, I would need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We need a motion then to approve the minutes from our regular council meeting on February 17th.
I make the motion that we approve the council minutes from the council meeting on February 17th.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any comments, concerns, or questions on it? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right. Next, we'll go to number 5, citizens' appearance. Mr. Zaboj, library rep.
Thank you. First of all, on the good side, instead of going down, the attendance for the month of February went up about 2.9% over last year. So we took a little bit of a downfall, but it looks like it's starting to come back up again. So thank God for that. This room will be the site of another quilt show at the end of May. We have somebody that's in charge that has participated in quite a few shows, not only in the state, but out of state. We're coming with good ideas. We're borrowing some of the hangers from other places that do have quilt shows, and it looks like we could get quite a bit of activity from people not just around here, but from other places. So for that part, I'm very, very thrilled, and that'll be towards the end of May, and I'll keep you posted at the next meeting. Also, Pat and I, after last meeting, checked upstairs, and we looked at that sinkhole that I was talking about by that front light. I'm calling it a sinkhole only because we put quite a bit of fill in 2 years ago, and it's starting to tilt again. And we both came up with about the same thing at the same time when we said, it's receding out here. Does that have anything to do with the elevator shaft, with the water problem? So we're going to keep an eye on it, but over the last, I believe, year, if I'm not mistaken, we have not had water in the elevator shaft. So we're in good shape there. And then I met with a representative today, and thank you to Scott, about our train, and it is being worked on, and it should be ready by probably next week sometime. I told him not to hurry because the city is busy right now with other things. But once the snow is gone, we can get that whole assembly back up again and have it functioning. Any questions on your department? No, thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you. Move on to B. Shani Appleby, candidate for Ward 2 Alderperson.
Hello, everybody. My name is Shani Appleby. I am running for Ward 2 for the city of Weyauwega. I'm looking very forward to having an opportunity to actually be working with you guys. You're doing wonderful with everything you've been doing with the city, and I would love to be a part of that and help it grow. So thank you very much for letting me come in tonight and say hi to all of you, and hopefully I can shake your hands afterwards.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good luck with your campaign.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, we'll move on to number C. Laurie Shaw, candidate for Municipal Court Judge.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Laurie Shaw. I'm from New London.
I came tonight to introduce myself to you and just try to get a little information out about municipal court. What I have found since I decided to run for municipal court judge is that a lot of people don't know what municipal court is, and they all think that I'm an attorney because I'm running. Couple things about the municipal court. New London started a municipal court in January of 2005. The court was set up and operating, and then on May 1st, 2011, Weyauwega joined in. So regularly an officer from your police department comes over to New London when we hold court. So Officer Leshke is a regular attendee that I'm very well acquainted with. The election for the municipal court judge is held every 4 years. When municipal court started in 2005, Judge Dennis Rush, he initiated the court, and he's been the judge ever since. Last year in April, he did announce that he was not running for re-election. At that time, I thought about the process, and I wanted to make sure that it was something that I thought that I myself had enough time to dedicate to. I do work full-time at the Chamber of Commerce in New London, and I have 2 teenage daughters. One's a junior and one's a senior. So to make sure that it was something that I felt was a good match for me, I started regularly attending the municipal court sessions, which we hold about 3 sessions per month. Since July, I've attended, I think 22 of the 23 sessions. We've actually had 2 actual trials that I was able to attend and observe both of those as well. I have a background, I have a college degree from Weyauwega with a degree in communications, minor in organizational communications, and an emphasis in business. I'm a real people person, and I'm very dedicated to my community. Kind of feel that it's our obligation to serve our community and do the best we can to make it the best place. Preparing for office, like I said, I've spent a lot of time actually just observing court, asking questions. The judge, the court staff, the officers have all been very helpful. In addition to regularly attending the New London Weyauwega court, I've also gone to the Ortonville, Grand Chute, Shiocton, and Clintonville courts to observe them, just to see what the differences are. And really learned a lot talking with those judges, the court staff, and such. So I'm really excited about the future. Hopefully April 1st I'll be able to win the election. I did really well in the primary. I received 344 out of 553 votes that were placed. So that was a great indicator for me. But I just want to keep working to raise awareness and let people know who I am and what I'm about. Brought some information for you. It has a little about my background, a little more about municipal court. I did do a mailer. I was able to contact the clerk's office and get a list of the people who voted in the last primary last year. So I mailed some information out to some of the citizens. So some might be aware of who I am, but I don't get over to Weyauwega a lot. So I just wanted to share this with you guys, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
You betcha. Yeah, the 2 questions I always get is, what is municipal court? And I didn't know you were an attorney. I'm not an attorney.
Thank you.
You bet. The biggest misconception, I guess, is that municipal court is not the same as circuit court, I'll go the other way. So there is a difference. So.
My name is Dave Vasquez. For those who don't know me, I'm a resident of Weyauwega. I've known Laurie practically my whole life. I'm here to support her. So for those getting out and voting in the Weyauwega area, I just want to support her candidacy. As you can see, she will be more than well prepared. She will be more than a people person. I've known her and worked with her at Rawhide for many years. And running baseball, the youth baseball sports here for as many years as I did. At one point, Laurie even helped and jumped in and helped me out to create a mailing list for a newsletter that we did every year, so that all I had to do was go in, take off the old not good addresses, put the new families on board, boom, hit a button, and it was all labeled and ready to go. So I'm just here supporting Laurie and her candidacy. So for those of you, hopefully everybody gets out and votes. She'll be more than qualified, I believe, to do that job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we'll move on to Vicki Clussman.
Clussman. Thank you all for letting me come and talk to you and introduce myself. I have some materials as well. My name is Vicki Clussman. I'm running for circuit court judge, so I'm not running against Michelle. I am an attorney. You have to be an attorney, and you have to have at least 5 years of practice in order to run for a circuit court judge. I'm running for the position that was vacated when Judge Hoffman retired. This probably dates me, but I have 26 years of experience as an attorney. I moved to Waupaca in 1987. I grew up in Wisconsin Rapids. I moved here when I got a job in the district attorney's office, and I've been in the district attorney's office since that time. Over the years in the district attorney's office, I've handled a lot of the county's most serious cases, homicides. I think I've handled all the shaken baby cases that we've had over the last 26 years, child abuse cases, serious batteries, a lot of sexual assault cases. And I think I've gained a reputation as being fair. I can be tough when I have to be on those serious cases. I've sought out and received some of the lengthiest sentences that have been handed down by the courts over that period of time. But in the vast majority of the cases, you have to be able to not only try to seek justice for the victims, try to get restitution for the victims, but also try and find a way for the person that I'm prosecuting to have a path to trying to turn their life around. And I've always tried to be fair and try to keep that in mind when I'm prosecuting individuals. I would say, like Michelle, I have a real affinity for public service. My father was a World War II veteran. He resides at the Veterans Home in King right now. And he was always very active in his community. And when I was growing up, I was always, he instilled in me a desire to be supportive of my community, to work for my community. And so when I got the job in the district attorney's office, that was something that I really liked about my job. I feel like I'm serving the community of Waupaca County when I'm in court prosecuting people. When I was in law school, one of my professors told me that the most important class I would ever take would be legal research, and I really took that to heart, because any attorney coming into the job of judge is going to have more familiarity with certain types of law rather than others. But if you know where to find the law, if you know how to research and find the law, you can read the books and find out about those areas of the law that you're not as strong in. But I think coming in, what you want in a judge is somebody who is comfortable in the courtroom, someone who's handled a lot of jury trials, that can handle a jury trial, and who can handle a large caseload. At one time in my office, I looked on the computer and I had 60 pending cases. And I think in our office, we learn really quickly how to handle big caseloads. So I think I would be able to do that. I think I would be able to step into the job of judge and handle it pretty quickly. Because I have had so many jury trials and I have so much courtroom experience. And I think that sets me apart from my opponent. Since we're in Weyauwega, I'll drop a couple of names. Attorney Worth and Attorney Bolter both support my candidacy. And if any of you can support my candidacy, I would really appreciate it. It's April 1st. April Fool's Day is a good day to elect a judge, I think. Very appropriate. But thank you for letting me come and talk to you, and I have to run to another meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will move on to our committee reports. Finance Committee.
On behalf of the Finance Committee, we recommend approval of checks number 30403 through 30457, totaling $157,005.85, and the monthly financial statements.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the checks. Have you heard any other questions or comments on any of that? We will ask for a roll call then.
Allenstein? Aye. Rasmussen?
Aye.
Edwards?
Aye.
Zandrow?
Aye.
Gunderson?
Aye. else. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Public Works Committee.
Public Works Committee would like to recommend approval of a letter of authorization for the Lincoln Street Sidewalk Construction Services.
I second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the letter of authorization for Lincoln Street Sidewalk Construction Service.
This is with Cedar Corp. As part of the East Alfred Street County Highway F project this summer. We are installing sidewalk to hook up from the end of East Main at Lincoln Street, come down Lincoln to East Alfred. That part of it is not part of County Highway F, so the sidewalk on the west side of Lincoln Street would be covered. This is for the construction services oversight observation while they're doing the work. The quoted cost is $700 to $1,000 for that work.
Is that going to be given out to local contractors also?
Yes. Yes.
Any other questions or comments on it? Lincoln Street Sidewalk Construction Service? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of the city-county municipal agreement for the County F project.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the city and the county municipal agreement for County Trunk F project. Any questions or comments?
This is an agreement, obviously, with the county. It outlines the cost share and the total cost for the County F project. We had anticipated it would be about a 50-50 split with the cost. What the county did was the county actually measured out how much of the roadway do they maintain, and it came out to be 60% instead of 50. So what that means is the county share is going to be 60%. The cities will be 40. We're getting a little bit of a deal there. The estimated total cost is $710,000 for that project. Half of that is about $355,000. Our share is coming down to 40%, $290,000 is what our share would be. That's for the County F project that we're splitting with the county. Projects like the sidewalk that we just talked about, those are outside and those are at the city's cost. But the agreement you're approving is basically approving that cost share.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of the quote from Hawkins for the purchase of 3 force flow 2,000-pound scales at a cost of $9,879, and the purchase of 2 Jesko pumps at a cost of $1,707.98.
I'll second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any questions or comments?
These are to upgrade the 3 chemical scales at our 3 well houses. That total cost for the 3 scales is $9,897. We did receive quotes from CTW and from Hawkins. The recommendation is to go with Hawkins. We are going to upgrade from 1,000-pound scales up to 2,000-pound scales. If you look at the cost difference in the quotation, Hawkins is the low quote. They had quoted out about $2,900 per scale for the 1,000-pound scales, $3,300 for double. So it's an extra $400. What that means for us is we have to order chemicals less. We can take in more at a time, save some trip charges, probably get a better rate, a better bulk rate. We will move to bigger tanks. Right now we buy barrels, and that's very manual. It's a lot of manual labor for the guy to take it off the truck. Our guys move it around the wells. Our scales need to be upgraded already because our current scales do not read to the 10th. Right now they just read to the full pound, which is something that the DNR mandates that we move towards. So we're already sort of out of compliance with the scales we've got now. That's for the scales. The other section of this is for 2 Jesko pumps. Those are for the chemical feeds. The reason there's only 2 is because at well number 4, we just did the rehab there. When we put the VFD in, that's conserving our energy to bring the pump up slowly, we had replaced the Jesko pump with that. So these pumps here will help us as we look to probably move towards VFDs with the other wells. We're going to be working with well number 3, that's coming up. Well number 1 will be a little bit down the road, but we do need the new pumps. The other piece that you don't see here, because we'll be able to take care of it outside of, we wouldn't need approval at all for an extra purchase, but there's a containment piece for these chemicals. What they want you to do is, they want to know when your chlorine and your LPC4 and those types of chemicals go into your well, if there's a spill or a leak in the pumps, they want to know that you have some type of a containment device. Right now, we really don't. But what we'll be able to do, a brand new containment box is about $800 a piece, and every time you would have a spill, you'd have to go get a brand new containment box. We're not going to go towards that though. What we're going to do is we're going to get chemical tanks that are basically double lined. So there'll be one tank inside a bigger tank, and that will suffice. So we won't need to purchase anything extra at this point. That's basically it. We're upgrading to accommodate the VFDs and also to get into compliance with DNR standards with our scales and our pumps when it comes to chemicals for the water system. Did you follow me on that? Is that good? Okay.
When did that also going to be, you're looking forward to the future?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Which means that we won't have to deal with this for maybe 15 years?
I would think that's probably about right. Yep. Yep.
So they're delivering your chemical,
Yes.
and they drop their fuel surcharge?
Yes, because this is for the water
It's a pretty
system,
good deal right there.
but they're already coming to town for our wastewater treatment plant sewer chemicals, and so they said, well, if we're coming, they're going to line up with that schedule instead of having their extra trips just for water. And because we'll double our capacity, they'll be coming, we'll need them half as much, so that'll be pretty good. I don't think I mentioned the price on the pumps, but it was $853.99 a piece, $853.99 for 2 of them.
Any other questions? Comments?
Can I ask a question about the tank? So the tank inside the tank, if there's a spill with that, will that need to be replaced or? is it
Yes.
clean? It does.
Yeah, it would be, but it's, yes.
What
We
would
would,
the cost
the
though?
cost would be about $200
Yeah.
for a new tank, where if we went with the cubes, the containment cubes, those are about $800 a piece. So I guess realistically, we could have 4 spills and still break even on the cost there, if that makes sense. You hope you don't, and I don't know that we've had any. As long as I can remember, or as long as anyone can remember, we haven't really had any spills. But yeah, we're set up to go, not cheaper, but it's more efficient then. On top of that, I'll just add this, the containment boxes themselves, the scale fits right in the box. So if you would have a spill, we're looking at scales that are $3,300. It's likely that if there's a spill, it may screw up your scale. You're looking at another maybe $3,300 expense just for the scales. This would be all contained above the scale, so.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of the park restroom bids for utility work, landscaping, and demolition and abandonment from Faulks Brothers
been made in second. Any questions or comments?
This is the work with the restroom building that you had just approved last month. You approved a general contractor to build out the restroom building and shelter. This is the work that we had offered to the contractors that bid on the restroom itself, but also to local contractors that may do sidewalk, but maybe they don't build buildings, or maybe they do utility work, but they don't, we bid it on the side as a side project. We had 5 bidders. The 2 Faulks Brothers and Wood Excavating had bid on the utility work, which is the new water and sewer lines to the new building, landscaping around the building, and demolition and abandonment of the existing restroom that's right there at the entrance to the park. Faulks Brothers was the low bidder on all of those, and I can give you the price. $6,750 for the water and sewer utility work, $1,750 for the landscape restoration, $3,890 for the demolition and abandonment. They were the low bidder compared to Wood, Sewer, and Excavating on all of those. The other work would be for the sidewalk work. What we're going to do is lay new sidewalk so that it's easier to get from the parking lot and other shelters to this new restroom in the park. We had 3 bidders on the sidewalk work: W. Muck Construction, K&H Concrete, and Centerline Contracting. W. Muck was the low bidder for $2.65, I believe it's per foot or per square foot. It's for $1,775.50. So they were the low bidder on the sidewalk work. Have any questions there? Clarity on the numbers?
Any other questions or comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Carried.
Laurie. I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of the policy to implement $20 per week on-call pay for public works utility employees effective January 1st, 2014.
I second.
Wording twice.
Motion's been made and seconded to recommend the policy to implement $20 a week on-call pay for public works utility employees effective January 1st, 2014.
This is a part of a larger discussion the Public Works Committee is having, and the Finance Committee as well, about our overtime calculations. When do employees accrue overtime? We're still working on that, and that discussion's been driven by, okay, this situation happens, how does that work from there? If you have a water break at 5 or 6 at night and you need someone to work a full shift again, or it turns into a full shift, we're not ready to bring that conversation out to the council yet. There hasn't been a recommendation made. But what has been made is to at least start that conversation. We always have one Public Works employee who's on call, and the on-call starts at 3:30 on Friday, which is the end of their workday, and it goes until 3:29 the next Friday. We expect them to be able to show up to work, be free of any drugs, alcohol, be able to show up in a reasonable amount of time when there's an emergency. The Public Works Committee has worked through a policy proposal, which you have in your packet. It would be in addition to the personnel manual. While the on-call work is outlined in their job descriptions as every 4 weeks when we have 4 full-time employees, you'll be on every 4th week on call. The committee had looked at that and said, well, being on call and having to be close to work, because not everyone lives right in the city, having to be ready to come to work, does that merit some type of a compensation? Because it's a restriction that we, the city, as an employer, are putting on the employees, but in return for that, you're getting an employee that's ready to come to work. And the citizens are getting a better service because they know that when something goes wrong, somebody will be there quick and they'll be able to take care of it. Hopefully no issues that aren't unforeseen, things that you can avoid. I'll read a real quick couple sentences out of the personnel manual policy. It says, in requiring employees to be fit for duty and able to respond to emergency situations, the city recognizes that these expectations are unique restrictions placed on the on-call employee. In recognizing these restrictions, the city agrees to compensate each on-call shift, which is 1 week, at a rate of $20 per week, in addition to the regular wages earned. Eligibility of regular or overtime compensation for work performed outside of the regular work schedule shall be determined by the overtime policy. So what this is saying is, because you're getting called in outside of regular work hours, you don't automatically get overtime for that. Our employees right now have to work a full 40 hours during the week before anything over 40 is overtime. The $20 figure is a number that can fit into the budget. We had a couple $1,000s in the water and sewer from health insurance savings. If you'll remember, when we put the budget together, we budgeted for our existing policy we had. When we got the new quotes for health insurance, when we switched to Anthem, there was a savings of about $15,000 for the year across all departments. $20 per week, 52 weeks out of the year, it comes to about $1,000, $1,040. We can split that between water and sewer because those are our emergency areas. It comes out to about $520 from each budget. $20 a week is roughly 1 hour of pay. There's a lot of other communities that we looked at. They'll pay $50, $100, $150. We're not going to get crazy with this at all. It's kind of a, let's try this out this year, see how it works. This is the recommendation then for a $20 per week. You know, be here and make sure you're coming to work and you're paying them to do that.
When you say be here, are you saying that they have to be here in Weyauwega?
They have to, the way our manual is written now, they need to respond in a reasonable time. Now, I don't know that the city has defined that to mean 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. We haven't yet defined that, but we are looking through the personnel manual at finance, and we'll be talking about it at the Public Works. You know, what do some of these policies mean? Some of our policies contradict themselves. Some of them could be clarified better. But right now, it's in their job descriptions, it says respond in a reasonable time.
So, according to your question, other municipalities, it's common practice to pay a standby.
Yeah, they call it pager pay.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of them that are fairly high though, not all of them, but some of them it was a union environment, and so during the course, you know, we don't have that here at all, so you haven't had to give the trade-offs, but at some points, you know, they would give up. However those negotiations go, a lot of times, I know at a Schwabman where I was, it was up to about $150 a week.
Did they offer minimum call-in time? If you were called in, you got automatically paid 3 or 4 hours right off the bat, even though you didn't have to work those 3 or 4 hours? You only came in for an hour and
it
rectified
varies.
the situation?
It varies. It varies, you know, an hour, 2 hours. We already have built in the on-call or the weekend rounds where on Saturday mornings they check the wells, they check the treatment plant. Sunday morning, those things are regularly scheduled, so it's not, you know, we don't, because they come in, we don't give them overtime just for that. You know, it's kind of regularly scheduled. This would be more an offset to be on call and be ready, because that, you know, you're expecting something from them. Hopefully you get it, you know, and I don't know if the city's having problems with any response times at all, but if there were, we would deal with it.
You know, okay, I think what we kind of overlooked, in a way, if you live outside of the city, and with that quick response to come in, and with the situation we got with the railroad, we're gonna have to take a look into that, and I just, if that happens, Alderperson, or they're at the hump for an excuse.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that too, because that goes both ways. It'd be on the employee and it would be on the person waiting for them to show up, you know, for help too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I know we discussed it before, and
yep,
it didn't come up, but it's gonna have to be something I think we're gonna have to look at.
right.
Are there 4 different people on call per month?
Roughly, yeah, I mean, some months you've got 5 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
or up, you know, parts of 5 weeks. But right now it's a rotating schedule, so the first guy is on 1 week, he's not on again until, the, you know, 3 weeks, 3 full weeks will pass and then he's back on.
So what that individual gets for being on call for those 5 working days, right?
7 days,
7 days.
Or it's full 7.
yep, Friday to Friday,
He gets $20 for that week.
yes. And anytime he's called into work, they get paid their straight time or however that falls in with the overtime rules. So you may get, there may be a lot of emergency call-ins 1 week, you may get a week where there are no call-ins. So the $20, it looks free, but they're still close to work and able to come into work. I don't have any stats narrowed down that say this many weeks last year they were called in. You know, we could put, we have all the reports when they get called in. We don't have it, I don't have it for you to say, well, this, you know. And it's hard to say on average, this is how many times they get called in, because the last 2-3 nights in a row, they've all been called in because of various situations, and it just changes. Every day's a new day.
Any other questions or comments?
The one quick thing I'll just put out is, it's $20 now. It's an amount, as we're putting the budget together, we'll take a look and see how it worked. If it's something you don't want to continue, we can discontinue. If it's something you'd like to revise in any form or fashion, we'll do that for sure.
I think Dave had a question.
Just on the pager system, when, if you're working that weekend, and due to the first response nature of that, does that pager?
It's a cell phone now. Yep.
It's cell phone now?
Yep.
How do you, does he like check in once for the weekend, like, yep, I'm on call?
No, it's really not sophisticated, but we're working on it. We have 4 phones. Whoever's on call, they literally hand them the phone. Yeah, yeah. We're working on it. Yeah.
You're working.
Yeah.
Pass the baton.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, comments? We have a motion and a second, so we will ask for all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Police, Fire, and Ambulance Committee.
No action for council.
Thank you. Public Health, Relief, Ordinance Committee.
No action for council.
Okay, thank you. Recreation Committee.
No action for council.
Planning Commission. There's no action at this time for
You
that.
give no respect, Jim.
I know.
Your committee's not
That's
even on
what
there.
I'm a Bears fan. What can I say?
Public Property Committee.
Okay, Public Property.
No action for council.
Thank you. All right, new business. Need a motion to approve the operator's license.
I will make a motion to approve the operator's license.
I'll second it.
Okay. What is it?
Deidra,
Deidra and
Nies.
for the Star Dairy. Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next, I would look for a motion for the 2014 agreement with Waupaca County Humane Society.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2014 agreement with the Waupaca Humane Society.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Do you have any questions or
make a quick comment. This is for cats. Happy Tails is our designated dog service provider. This is for cats. The reason it's here now, we got a copy of the new proposed contract. It's dated January 28th. I had it set aside to go to the police committee. It's my understanding we'll be meeting with the police committee fairly soon, but I didn't want this to hang out any longer here. This is the provider we've used in the past. We haven't used them a whole lot. It's not overwhelming at all. But basically, they lay out their conditions. Nothing has changed. The rate is $95 per unit, which I believe is per day. I believe that's per day, and they'll hold the cats up to 7 days. You know, people come in and claim them, adopt them, euthanize in some situations. That's all laid out in the plan here. But this would be just to upgrade or renew the contract just for 2014.
They charge the city $95 a day
No, per unit that is impounded.
per animal.
Per animal.
Yeah, and
It
that's a
includes the
gold
cost
mine
of
situation.
euthanasia and disposal.
Would you break that down a little more, explaining that?
No, it includes euthanasia and
Mhm.
disposal costs. So it's boarding, euthanasia, and burial, if they have to dispose of it. It's not per day.
It's not cheap anywhere.
Well, part of it was them coming over to actually pick up, isn't that part of it? Or is that-
I think we deliver there. It's right in behind the airport there.
Yes, we deliver.
Yeah, and I do believe, you know, if it's someone's cat that ends up there, they come and claim them, they're on the hook for the fee.
Right.
If it's adopted out, I also believe that whoever adopts out shares in some or all of that cost. These are the ones, usually it ends up being the ones that don't get claimed. They have a lot of costs there on their end. The problem is, like I mentioned, I think at one time, from my own understanding, Happy Tails had provided the service too, and decided that that's not the business that they would like to be in. I don't know that there's a lot of certified or organizations that are willing to take this on.
How does the feral cats fit into that? Because that was
That's
something-
basically what this is here.
That's what
Yeah.
generated it.
Usually if it's someone's house cat or someone's pet, they're looking for it and they'll check with the Humane Society. This is really cats that no one claims and no one wants. And not that I'm an expert on the definition of a feral cat, but it's
They usually
that.
can't be even, they can't hardly be adopted, they're wild, most of them.
right. And that's where when they take in a cat and they can't
That's where the,
get rid of them in a, you know, adopting out or returning it to their owner, they've got a cost, and because they come from the city, that's where the cost comes in on your end.
were you here when that lady from, was it Green Bay or so on, came a couple years ago, and, or there was, where they did something with them and brought them back and just released them? Sterilized them and just released them back into the,
Well, it could be,
there was a process she explained that then eventually, that it would.
there's a
would
couple
be-
programs
the
from
multiplication
Green Bay
would be
that
out
I'm
there.
familiar with because I was from there, but there's pet sanctuaries, and I think there's Happily Ever After is a sanctuary in Green Bay where,
Marion.
yeah.
There's one in
Well,
Marion.
and it's the same, it's a girl I grew up with actually that runs both of them,
Okay.
you know. But, yeah, it's not a fun, usually when you're dealing with this, you know, people like cats, they have them as pets. This is not the fun side of, I guess, dealing with cats, for lack of a better word.
See, and that's where I came up with it, they come and got, I thought it was like a $45 charge or something, and then they just take them and sterilize them and then bring them back or something.
The city never agreed to that contract.
But she was telling us about it, that's where, okay.
According to their contract, the city will only be billed for cats that are unclaimed during their 7-day impoundment. So they'll hold them 7 days before we euthanize them.
Mhm.
So that covers 7 days of room and board, euthanization, and then disposal. And they get adopted in 7 days. Adopted or so.
Yeah, the happy endings with these types of situations are not, it's not really what this is for, on your end anyway.
So how does the Humane Society get contacted? A law enforcement officer picks up a stray cat?
Yeah,
Is
or,
that
I mean,
where-
people
is
may
that the
bring
point?
them in,
Is that where it starts?
usually.
Okay.
We've been called, I think people bring them in
Get
too.
called at the office to say that they have a cat,
Yeah,
and then I have to call an officer, and the officer has to go pick up the cat, and only officers can take him to the Humane Society.
So then.
Residents cannot just go drop it off.
So then, our law enforcement members deliver those cats to Waupaca? This is a costly expense.
it could be, I don't know that we've used this a whole lot though. I can take a look, I just had the number up. Cause like I said, usually in the middle of the city, so we're only getting billed for the cats that are in the middle of the city. Ones that are out in the town, when they're picked up in the town, we don't get billed, the towns do. So usually it's, you know, someone's pet that gets out in town.
This is what we term as political correctness, don't we?
Yeah, but you've gotta deal with them though, yeah. And I say deal with, I don't mean that in a negative, that's what we're doing.
Not one python.
They just wanted to down compared with what it was 3-4 years ago.
So animal pound is the budget item, that includes dogs and cats. The budget you have for that has been $2,000-3,000. Last year, I know that you had spent on dogs $300 for the whole year. Between cats and dogs, $566. So we're looking at $266 last year on cats. But your budget is up to $2,000. So what happened is you probably had 3 days. 3 days you were billed all of last year. And in this contract, it says, you know, you can be billed up to a full week per cat.
Thanks for explaining that.
Yep, sorry, I had it up and then it closed. I got it.
Any other questions or comments on the agreement with the county Humane Society on cats? Have a motion and second. Okay. All in favor of the agreement, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next thing we have, I would be looking for a motion for the street permit application for the Weyauwega tractor pull on May 17th, 2014.
I so move.
I'll second.
We have a motion and we have a second by Brunner. Any questions or comments?
No, exactly as it says, it's their permit to use the street for the tractor pull in May.
What kind of name of the organization is that?
The Weyauwega Tractor Pull Committee.
Yeah, Weyauwega Tractor Pull Committee.
Yeah, well, it's the committee that's putting it on.
I don't know who the contact person is, do you?
Nope.
Becky,
Any other
Yeah.
questions or comments?
for the camera.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. report, I don't have anything at this time to report on. Administrator's report?
Just a couple things. We had the auditors in last week. They finished up the audit. It sounds like things went very well. We had them in earlier every couple weeks up until now to work on the financial software that we had just purchased prior to me arriving. They were working out some of the fine details that weren't smoothed over from our financial software provider. So we got everything up and running. The audit, it sounds like, went very well, which is good. Some of you will notice by the Legion Hall there are some very big trucks in town today. A lot of people have asked me. If you read in the minutes, we talked about the American Legion storm sewer line, that we were going to get that fixed. The county went in, installed a manhole where that sinkhole was behind the building. That's the state's portion of the work, because the state's not paying us because we're handling the water off of 110. They're hiring the county to do the work. Visual Sewer was the contractor that's going to slip line, basically spray a new pipe, so we don't have to dig up the Legion Hall's foundation or anything like that. Visual Sewer was able to find some time now instead of in a month from now, which is very good because they'll repair that pipe. I think today they should be done or tomorrow, and then as everything's melting and thawing, we'll have a nice clean pipe. It won't be eroding anymore below the Legion Hall. So that's what the big trucks are doing in town. On top of that, I'm reporting on a couple of free training opportunities that we have that I'll be going to in the next couple weeks. One is this Thursday. Congressman Reed Ribble's office is putting on a grants and funding opportunities conference. I got in on that. Some of the topics that they assigned me to are USDA grant opportunities and grants through the state. The USDA is important because, as we've talked about City Hall, that's a program that we've looked at, and it's a program that New London had used with a community center. The other ones would be dealing with or approaching your regional planners, and also training and assistance for local government. So it's kind of like a grant funding, grant organizing 101. But it's a free training. It's this Thursday. The other one that is free is from our brand new property liability insurance provider. That's with the League of Wisconsin Municipalities Mutual Insurance. They have a policyholders conference April 10th through the 12th. But basically what it is it's a proactive training session by our insurance because of the decisions we make with liability. Sewer backups is one in here that we had talked about. You know, how do you handle those types of claims? They're helping us out to say, look, this is what you can be doing ahead of time. It saves us the headache of maybe not doing things the way we should, and it also saves our insurance company because we don't then have claims because of things we could probably avoid ahead of time. It's down in the Dells, two-day conference, but it's free, which is good too. So those are the types of things. Free is the best kind, so we'll take advantage of that when we can. That's all I have. Any questions?
Enjoy yourself.
Just one person from our city can go, or do they open it for more?
Yeah, it's one. If you send more than one, then you got to pay. With the meals that are provided, and I think it provides for one hotel room. Well, if you want to go, you're going to go. But the Reed Ribble's office, though, I think that's for as many people as you can get. And if you'll remember, we did have a representative from this office at the City Hall open house meeting, and they remembered us because that's why they called and said, we're doing this, remember this program we talked about? Here's how we'll help you out. So I'll give a shout out and some kudos to them too, because when you deserve it, you should get it.
Just a question, are we going to get anything at the library on this new insurance?
We have, I thought it was going to be for this meeting here. I think it's going to be at the April meeting. Okay. Our new insurance carriers will come. We had gotten all of the approvals lined up right before the end of the year, so all of the paperwork we've been doing now is they've been verifying all of the properties that we said we have. We gave them all the info, values, square footage, design. they're sending out their people to verify those numbers, and then they're going to be coming to give a
Is that
presentation.
that look-through you were talking about?
Yes, they're still coming with that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we self-report up front, and then they come on the back end, which has been labor intensive, but that's what we've got.
Thank you.
I would just like you to pass on the praise to the public works staff, because I don't know how many streets usually flood when the melt starts, but our area usually has some problems with yards and our street on Parker. So I noticed that all the storm sewers were really open, and when things started to run, they were all accommodating the water. So
Quite a few
I
that-
just thought
quite a
they were
few that
doing a
didn't.
really good job this spring, really.
Yeah, we had a few that didn't, but they got on it, and
Yeah,
with the help also of the fire department,
Mm.
guys out there trying to pump
With
them
the
out,
pumps.
pump and clean them out. They did what they could, and eventually it did go through.
Yeah. I think we're lucky we don't have a really quick thaw, but
yeah, there's two things there, I think, that happened. I'll just real quick put that out there for you. We had found out through Red Septic that they get hot water from Star Dairy, and they fill up their jetters with hot water from Star Dairy. And so what we started doing is we've got a plastic jetter, so we can only go so hot with the water, but we'd get water from Star Dairy, fill up our jetter with hot water, and then run it through our storm lines, which worked really good. But you'll remember that we cleaned out a lot of the storm sewers on East Main Street last summer because it froze from the year before. Because for 20 to 30 years we put sand on the street and never cleaned out those sewers. I think what happened a little bit this year is we used a lot more straight salt. And so there was a couple situations where we put salt down, it would melt on the road, get into the sewer and freeze. And then the next time around it would melt on the road, get in the sewer and freeze. Because those same areas that we cleaned out are like 8-inch pipes, 12-inch pipes, and they froze this year at Elizabeth and East Main. That was really bad, and it flooded really bad twice, and we had to call the fire department, came and helped us pump it out. But eventually we got on it. It's just we used less sand so that we weren't putting more sand into the sewers, and then when we melted it a little bit better with the salt, it froze in the sewer anyway. So it's always learning, always learning. But I think it turned out, considering the winter, I mean, it seems like every winter is just as bad, but it's been cold. It's been really cold.
That salt, was that 100% that we?
Yeah, what we did in the past, we had thrown salt and sand that was 90% sand, 10% salt. We amped that up this year so that we had 50-50, so it was more salt in with the sand.
Right.
And on top of that, we bought piles of straight salt that we had on hand. The problem was, about a month ago, everybody ran out of salt. Waupaca couldn't get salt anymore. The county had salt, but they needed it. So we ended up switching to sand, but it was still, I think we did really, really good through most of the winter, and then the problem we had was about a month ago it got to about 40, and then it went below 0 again, and then as it melted, it just iced.
It has been one of them winters.
Roads.
Just, no matter what you do.
Yep. I heard that it's supposed to end pretty soon, though.
Rumors.
That's what I heard. The mayor went to Mexico, so is it winter down there, or is it getting warmer?
Yeah, it's getting warmer.
Okay.
It's getting warmer.
That's good.
Okay, we have nothing else, then we will set meetings for our calendar month for April.
Finance has been set for Monday, March 31st, 6 o'clock, library. Public Works is set for Monday, April 7th, 10:30 in the morning at the library. Council is set for Tuesday, because it's after the spring election, it's going to be the third Tuesday. Tuesday, April 15th at 6:30. Do we need any other meetings that we need to set tonight?
What about
discuss swim lake and other recreation activities. We will probably need a public property meeting.
Rec, we do ask it, normally scheduled for the first Thursday. Does that work? You're gonna do something else?
I'd rather do a Wednesday.
Wednesday? Okay.
So that would be the second. That work for
April 2nd?
Johanna. How about you, Patrick?
What time?
Early better? Bruce is on that though, 6:30, you're working.
I prefer Thursday, but
I looked at my clock and it was 6:30, it was in the middle of a batch of mud.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, 6:30 is fine, unless
Good.
someone else early.
Tuesday?
Tuesday?
We could bump the next week, Tuesday.
Tuesday'd be fine.
The 8th?
April 8th?
Yep.
Do the rock on, or Monday, I mean, nothing else is on Monday. and then
Public Works is on that
Oh,
7th,
Public Works, okay.
but it's during the
But
day.
that's
Yeah,
though.
daytime.
during the day, so you can do it at night if you want.
So, I mean, it's really up to you guys,
On
because
your Tuesday.
I just have Thursday commitments, so any
Okay.
other night but Thursday is good.
I don't, yeah, Monday or Tuesday is fine, either one.
No, I'm,
You're good.
Okay, let's do Tuesday, the
Fine.
8th,
What time first works for you?
6:30.
6:30? Jim, when would you like public property? Normally it's the second Wednesday, but whatever. That'd be the 9th, so it's up to you what you do.
First.
First is election day, but I don't know.
No,
if
the first Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Oh,
That'd be the
second.
second.
You want the first,
Wednesday the second.
Wednesday the second?
Yep.
You okay with that? You okay with that? All right.
6:30?
Sure.
Mhm. April 2nd.
You want nights for that?
Every other week, okay?
Yeah.
Promotion.
Yeah, that works real good.
They gave him promotion and took a cut in pay.
I just wanted to switch that so I could get a couple of nights.
Well, hopefully this will change soon, to train people, so right
Okay.
now I got to be filling up.
Okay.
The other one that's out there is about the police.
Ordinance, do we need an ordinance meeting or not?
We should.
Okay. Can we actually do it a Thursday, on a Thursday this month?
April 3rd,
Perfect.
And also,
What time?
6 o'clock if you're Scott, or do you like it earlier?
6 is fine.
Okay.
Okay, Thursday, April 3rd at 6.
so do we need a place one or?
I think we're due for a report.
probably. Probably. As we'll go out with a bang here, this is the last round of committee meetings before, I guess, your council resets committees, so.
Can we, wonder if we can get it in with that, right after the rec committee or something?
Rec will be
Right
fairly
before.
short, so if you wanted to do it right after even, that should be all right.
Yeah.
Sure, 7.
Unless we wanna, mess things up, but if we went with 6 on rec, does it matter to anyone else?
That's okay, I just
That's
didn't
fine
think
with
you
me.
could make it.
No, that's,
Okay, so you
Yeah,
wanna
just-
do rec at
6
6
o'clock.
and police immediately following.
Yeah.
That sounds really good.
Tuesday, April 8th.
Yeah.
The only other thing I would add is that in that RFP that you had approved for legal services, we had aimed for the new council on the 15th to make the decision on, after you quote out the different contractors for the different levels of work. The idea was the new council would vote on that. The problem is if you have it the week of the 7th through the 11th, like we had tentatively scheduled, you have the old council, and then you have a potential situation where a new council member for Ward 2 then wouldn't be in on the closed session reviews of these candidates, and then would be voting on them. So what we'll do, and because we filled up that week with committee meetings already, we'll look at probably the week of after the 15th, we'll take a look at that. But that's just a heads up to you guys that those proposals are due next week, Monday, in my office. We've gotten a couple in already, which is good. And then we'll do some review, and that'll give almost 3 weeks to review them ahead of time, and then any interviews that you would like to do, if at all.
All meetings are scheduled. And I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn at 7:40 PM.
Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.